Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Yin and Yang podcast. Here are your hosts, D-Pad and YuyuKirby.
Welcome back to the Yin and Yang podcast, episode 18. As always, I'm your host, D-Pad, and with me is YuyuKirby.
Hey there.
Now, we have a special guest, which we'll be bringing on in a bit. I mean, this is what, the fourth time we've had a special guest? I've lost track, but it's a good friend who we've had on the show before because they're joining us for our big segment later on, which we'll touch about after. But I just want to clarify, the reason why we're recording this episode today is because it's going to be Thanksgiving by, I think, on Thursday or Friday for Yuyu.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. And Friday, I'm probably going to be busy with some stuff, so we talked to our guest if we could record today, which is Tuesday. So that's why you guys get a little Thanksgiving special, and you get the podcast early this week. But rest assured, next Thursday, we're going to be recording, and it will be up on Friday. But that out of the way, Yuyu, any Twitch updates before we begin?
Not right now.
Okay,
Yes,
fair enough.
not
Fair
right
enough.
now.
All right, I thought I'd ask.
That's fine.
Okay, so yeah. Now we're gonna cover some short topics before, because this stuff kind of came out last week after we had posted last week's episode, and we both really want to talk about this stuff. And so to start things off, for those of you who don't know, the co-creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, Yuji Naka,
Yeah.
forgive me if I've butchered that name, okay? But anyway, he has been arrested for suspected inside trading for an investment made while working at Square Enix. As reported by IGN Japan, Naka was arrested by the Naka. There we go. Thank you. Naka was arrested by the Special Investigation Department of the Tokyo District Public Prosecutor's Office alongside two other former Square Enix employees. He allegedly bought 10,000 shares in developer, aiming at a value of around 20 million, I think, ahead of its announcing the Dragon Quest hack mobile game in partnership with Square Enix. The other employees arrested, Hazuki Sasaki and Fumaki Suzaki, allegedly purchased a combined total of 160,000 shares at a value around 3,325 million. Again, sorry if I butcher this. Sasaki is also alleged to have informed Naka and Suzuki about the potential rise in value. Now, insider trading is the buying and selling of stocks with confidential or non-public information, usually with the intention to make money, and it's illegal in Japan. So, this is just... If this is true that he's done this, people are going to take a shot at the Sonic franchise for this.
Knowing how people are, agreed.
It's funny because Friday when I found out about this, and I come up for breakfast the next day, Mom had asked me, did I hear about this? Because Mom knows that I'm a huge Sonic fan. And so I said, yeah, I just heard about this, and people are going to use this as a means to bash the Sonic franchise further. And she wholeheartedly agrees, and she calls it sad that people are going to be using this as an excuse to further try and ruin this reputation of a series that is just starting to come around because of Sonic Frontiers. And you have Sonic Prime coming out as well. Honestly, for the longest time, Sonic's been at death's door. I'm not gonna lie. So they're finally turning the franchise around, and this shit happens. Just, oi. It bums me out so much that this happened. Oh, what are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, no one's kind of respected Yuji Naka lately, especially considering since Battle in Wonderland's come out, we've learned what kind of an asshole he is.
That's true.
Especially considering the whole Battle in Wonderland thing is mostly him rather than Square being stupid. No, it's kind of his
Mhm.
fault that Battle in Wonderland turned out how it did.
If you guys are interested in watching a video on Battle in Wonderland, we both highly suggest you watch What Happened video on Battle in Wonderland. That was an amazing video.
Yep.
Because Matt goes into much more details on what happened with the game. Like, I'll be honest, I am one of the few that actually have a copy of Battle in Wonderland for their Switch. The only reason why I got that game was because of my cousin. My cousin got the game for me because she had heard that it was like from the co-creator of Sonic, and she knows I'm a huge Sonic fan. So she got that game for me as an early birthday present last year. That's the only reason why I have the game. Like, I've honestly haven't touched it since. It's on my shelf, still in its original wrapping. I do not want to open this game up, honestly. I'm afraid to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you hear about these things and just like, your childhood and that, like, it's sad. And it's about to get a lot sadder because for those who haven't heard, on Sunday, Power Rangers legend Jason David Frank, who played Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, and then later on he became the White Ranger, he committed suicide on Sunday, and he was only 49.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to go into details on what happened specifically because I want to just keep that out of respect for the grieving family. But it just came to a shock that of all people, he was dealing with this problem and he took this way out, so to speak. I'm not trying to be mean or nothing. Like, just it came to a shock. It came to a shock that this happened to such an incredible actor. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I really can't say, to be honest, because it's if it's a suicide, it's best left spoken about just the family and
The
friends.
legacy. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I get that, but
Oh.
it's like it's still
Mhm.
kind of a big thing to still happen. So I'd rather not say
Mhm.
anything. I'm not going to say suicide is coward's way out. There are times when people do feel like doing it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have
And like,
felt some like that sometimes. So yeah,
well, I
all I'm
felt like
just
that way too. Like,
I'll just say is he will be missed.
mhm. Mhm. Yeah. That's yeah. That's all there is to it. All right. Well, with that quickly taken out of the way, you have one more story that you want to talk about before we get into our main topic for this evening's podcast. Now,
Yeah.
what is it?
So apparently, I've learned of a thing on TikTok about people stating tragic things that have happened to them and dancing. If you do this, you are a piece of shit, and I don't believe that the tragic thing happened to you. That's all I'll say on that.
Oh, oh. Can I bring this up quickly?
All right.
Because I've actually seen something like that on TikTok. Because for those who don't know, I actually live in Saskatchewan, in Canada, and the city that I'm living in, I'm not gonna name it. Just I don't want to publicly dox myself. um, it's not the nicest city right now because of all the problems we have in the city, and so someone had made a TikTok video of them dancing, and the tag was like, if you're dancing in Saskatchewan, and then like they're dancing, and then gunshots go off, and then like the people that were dancing just start to scatter.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah.
I don't mean similar to that. I mean similar to like a woman dancing, explaining that her baby had health problems.
Okay,
That type of
okay,
stuff.
enough. Okay, yeah, no, sorry, I thought it was like this, but that is just as worse as that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just disgusting. So, all right, let's just how about we move along to our next, like, our big topic, and we introduce our guest.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
Sound good?
Yeah,
all right, so making her, I want to say her third appearance. I could be wrong. Well, making their another appearance on the podcast, we have the one and only Robot Toaster.
Hey guys!
Now, we had asked Robot Toaster to join us because, as me and you said in our last podcast, we meant to do a topic regarding SpongeBob SquarePants for each podcast for the month of November. And honestly, with things kind of going crazy for both of us, we kind of forgot about this. And so we wanted to specifically, for our final podcast for November, we wanted to touch on SpongeBob itself. And Robot happens to be a fan of SpongeBob like we are. And so we thought it would be cool to have her on to talk about her own like reasons why she likes the show, why she dislikes stuff like that. So, let me ask you. Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I'm gonna stop that before Yuyu gives me the death glare after.
I already am.
I'm sorry,
I
had to.
I'm not giving you a glare, Toast. I'm giving him one.
Yeah, he's giving it to me. I probably set myself up for that, so I deserve it. So, SpongeBob. I guess I'll start things off with, what is your favorite thing about the show, you guys?
I'll let Toaster go first.
My favorite thing about the show, like besides the humor,
Could just be the humor. Like, if you like something else, just go ahead and say it.
although I do like the characters, they have pretty good interactions. You know, I feel like me liking a show is directly proportional on my characters. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. How about you?
Honestly, I'm basically the same thing as Toaster. Mostly, it's like the comedy, the world's fine. It's like it's still just a really good show. So there are lots of things that bring people coming back to watching SpongeBob.
Mm-hmm. The continuity, like it's one of those shows, like they also defy all laws of physics and reality and whatever, because apparently you can have fire underwater, apparently.
And water underwater.
No, that's goo. That's like tar and stuff. So
I always saw it as like Goo Lagoon was like a brine
you're talking
pit.
about Goo Lagoon? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Goo Lagoon's like literally goo. They do an episode where they're dealing with like the goo from Goo Lagoon.
Yeah.
Oh, I always thought it was like a brine pit, like salt water that's especially salty. Like it's a thing. Look it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. I'm gonna say this. Favorite guest star that's been on SpongeBob. Like, if you can remember your favorite guest star.
It's a hard one.
I'm gonna say this, and people will probably hate me for this, but my favorite guest star that's been on SpongeBob was the late, incredible David Bowie as Lord Highness, like from the Atlantis SquarePants special.
Lord Royal Highness?
Yeah. Him, or honestly, this one surprised me. I cannot believe that they actually got Johnny Depp on SpongeBob at one point.
I can believe that.
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
I gotta say
Andy
though,
Samberg can say that.
I gotta say though, when I was a kid, I didn't know that Lord Royal Highness was David Bowie. I just remember being really disappointed watching Atlantis SquarePants as a kid and finding out that the ruler of Atlantis was not King Neptune. But of course, this was before I realized SpongeBob didn't really have any continuity.
Yeah. Speaking of King Neptune, like they have two different versions of King Neptune. Well, three different versions of King Neptune. They have the show. They have King Neptune from the first SpongeBob movie, and King Neptune from the third SpongeBob movie. It's so freaking weird. Do you guys have
Maybe
a
it's
favorite
a
guest star
legacy
that's been
title?
on the show?
Oh, you know who was a good guest star? Jim, the original fry cook. Wasn't he played by a guest?
Looking it up.
He was played by Patrick Oswalt, I think.
Patton
Os-
Oswalt?
Yeah. He also voiced
Yeah,
Remy
Patton
from
Oswalt.
he also voiced Remy from Ratatouille. That's how I
That's pretty
remember.
fitting.
Yeah.
He was in a movie where a character wanted to be a chef, and in this one he already was a chef.
Yeah. Film critic Gene Shalit. He voiced Gene Scallop in the Krusty Sponge episode.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Gene Simmons was actually in 2,200. Yeah, Patties Under the
20,000
Sea.
Patties Under the Sea.
Yeah.
I remember
I
this
think one of
show
my
better than I thought I did.
I think one of my favorite sets of voice, like guest stars on the show, was Adam West and Burt Ward, Batman and Robin fame, voicing young Mermaid Man and young Barnacle Boy. For that one episode where Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy take SpongeBob and Patrick back through time to show like their younger years,
Yeah.
and of course they screw things up.
I remember not liking that episode, but it was really cool hearing Adam West and Burt Ward there. How come every time Adam West shows up in something, he was always playing a parody of himself?
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine and Tim Conroy, the original Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy for the show, they were amazing. I'm kind of sad that we don't get to see these characters aside from just background roles now, but I think it's because the producers in that they want to pay respects to the actors who voiced them, and they just don't want to get new voices for them.
Yeah.
That could be it. Apparently C.H. Greenblatt, the creator of Chowder, he was a character on the show called Carl, and it's interesting because before Chowder, he actually worked on SpongeBob.
I was watching that episode legit the other night.
Mark Hamill voiced the Moth from the episode Nightlight. He just has like a few lines, but he's still freaking funny as it.
It was an episode I didn't really like.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was in it though.
Yeah. I forgot that Triumph the Insult Comic Dog and the late Robin Williams guest starred on the show too for their Square special that they did for the 10th anniversary of SpongeBob.
Truth or Square had a lot of people appearing in the original airing.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the list here. You have Rocio Dawson, Eddie Deason, Craig Ferguson, Will
Tina
Ferrell,
Fey.
Ricky Gervais, LeBron James, Hank. Like a lot of people guest starred for that that special, which
wasn't even guest starring. It was basically just themselves appearing and to say something about the show.
Walk-on cameos.
Well, it was also because Patchy wanted to try and get them for his big special for SpongeBob that he was celebrating, because he was celebrating the anniversary of SpongeBob, and he those Patchy segments were actually filmed at the Nickelodeon studios. Yeah.
That was
just pretty much walk-on cameos. And then I remember that special. Go ahead.
was gonna say that's probably
Go
one of the few times I've liked the Patchy segments more than the. I mean, not that Truth or Square was like good or anything, but I remember being disappointed by it. And I did find some of the Patchy segments amusing, like when he's talking about like what if other characters were the main character, or like what if SpongeBob
Yeah,
was
look-
a 1930s cartoon or something.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I remember that special because I remember when I can't remember who it was, but they told Patchy that Robin Williams was having his own party for SpongeBob. I remember Patchy and Robin Williams getting into an argument. Just pure funny and like, Robin. It was funny, but that's another good character. What do you guys think of Patchy the Pirate?
I honestly do not mind him. I think they should do a
Mm.
little bit more with Patchy.
Exactly. I feel like that too. And I will say this, Patchy, for those who don't know, is portrayed by SpongeBob's voice actor, Tom Kenny. And he does that role so well. He loses himself in that character. And he stated that Patchy is one of his favorite characters to play as.
So glad that Patchy did eventually get to meet SpongeBob in the 20th anniversary special.
That was funny. That was funny.
Though
Yeah,
part of
that
me
was a
wonders
funny
what
episode.
they're gonna do with Patchy now that his goal has finally been achieved. Where are they gonna take that arc?
Oh, they'll still have ideas for Patchy, I think.
Yeah.
Because people love Patchy. So
Well, Tom Kenny is fun is usually fun no matter what he's in.
Yeah.
Mm.
People
do you guys want to talk about Go ahead.
People also do need to remember that Patchy is also not the French narrator. They are completely different people, even though the French narrator is Tom Kenny voice wise.
Tom Kenny.
Yeah, it's not Tom Kenny acting wise. That's Dan
Yeah, no.
Southworth. Some of you might know him as Virgil from Devil May Cry.
I keep forgetting that
Nice.
that Tom Kenny is the narrator on two different shows. He was also the narrator in the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also the mayor.
I know. Though, if I had to pick which of Tom Kenny's two narrator roles, I think I prefer the Powerpuff Girls narrator a little bit more.
See, I like his French, like the French narrator role from SpongeBob, because that's him imitating Jacques Cousteau. And for those who actually don't know, here's a little bit of really cool information. Tom Kenny is actually the husband of Jill Tilly, the girl that voices Plankton's computer wife, Karen. Yeah, and Tom's also written several songs for the show. The most notable one that he has written was The Best Day Ever. And he's also the voice director for SpongeBob since season 9.
I didn't know voice directors were a thing.
Yeah. They are. I know for Rise of the Ninja Turtles. I know for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rob Paulsen's was the voice director for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What else is he
Paulsen is
voiced?
also
He's voiced a lot of characters. He's voiced a lot of characters. At one point, I guess voice actor Jess Harnell was he auditioned for the role of SpongeBob, but he lost the role to Kenny because Kenny was chosen.
I don't think I could hear Jess Harnell doing SpongeBob.
Yeah, I'll have to get used to that when I play Spyro Hero's Tale.
That's right, because he voiced Spyro for
Hero's
that,
Tale.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Part of me could hear Rob Paulsen doing SpongeBob.
Yeah, Rob Paulson could work as SpongeBob.
I know he played a knockoff SpongeBob
Mhm.
from a not very good show called Coconut Fred.
Okay, I will say this: Coconut Fred was Kids WB's answer to SpongeBob. Let's
I
just
thought
be
that was Johnny
sure.
Test.
And
No,
Johnny
no.
Test is like it's like
Johnny
a role
Test was,
reversal in Dexter's Lab. It's
Yeah.
like it's
Do you guys remember that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob and Sandy get into like their whole karate phase and like they try to beat each other up with the karate, and then there's that one scene where Sandy pulls out that bottle of hot sauce.
Yeah.
When it zoomed in on like that drop of hot sauce and like you could see like that person in that drop, that was Tom Kenny. And according to the commentary for that episode, because I actually have the first 2 seasons on DVD, he explained that after they had filmed that segment, he had to go and because he auditioned for another role for something, and he forgot to take the paint off his face. So he comes in and they were giving him like this weird look. Why, like because he has the paint on his face. So he quickly ran to the bathroom and like scrubbed, washed it off, and then came back.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, hot sauce drop. Yeah. What is it? What do you guys think of like the other voice actors for the show?
I think everyone else does a really good job. It's like we have Clancy Brown as Mr. Krabs, and is one of its 2 bigger iconic roles next to Neo Cortex and Crash.
Yeah.
And it's like hell. Like
Yeah,
you mentioned
same.
before, we have Rob Paulson as Patrick.
and I don't think Rob Paulson
What?
is Patrick.
Who's
Rob
Rob Paulson play?
no, it wasn't him. No, it wasn't him.
Yeah, no. Rob Paulson was. Yeah, no. Rob Paulson was only a guest star on the show, but
Right. Yeah.
the main
Paulson
actors
was on
are Tom Kenny, Bill. I can't pronounce his last name, but
Fagerbaki.
voice actor. No. Yeah, Bill Fagerbaki. He's Patrick.
Yeah. Bill.
Cindy Lawrence. I think it's Cindy Lawrence. Hang on, I gotta look this up
I
here.
think it's Carolyn Lawrence. She does play Cindy on Jimmy Neutron, which kind of shocked me when I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caroline Lawrence. Yeah, Caroline Lawrence. Roger Bumpus as Squidward, Clancy Brown as Mr. Krabs, and you have Mr. Lawrence as Plankton.
Yeah.
Plankton is like Mr. Lawrence also writes for the show now too. I guess he left for a while, but he came back and he's writing for the show now too. And he also voiced Filbert the Turtle. He also voiced Filbert the Turtle from Rocko's Modern Life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I remember that it's Mr. Lawrence, because it was my show before SpongeBob.
He was also in Camp Lazlo, wasn't he?
I don't think he was.
I thought for sure he was in Camp Lazlo.
Hang on, I'm gonna pull up his thing here, and I'm gonna read it. He was Filbert. Yeah, he was Camp Lazlo. He was Edward, Dave, Ping Pong, Nurse Leslie.
Yeah, I remember him definitely. He was Edward the Platypus. I remember he sounded like Plankton.
AKA Squidward, but way more boring.
And flying Squidward wasn't already boring.
Well, okay. Edward was more emphasis on the dick portion of Squidward.
Yeah. Well, I think about it. Edward, Squidward.
And it's like
Camp Lazlo really is just SpongeBob meets Rocko, isn't it?
It is.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. What's gonna be your guys' favorite movie from SpongeBob? Like
the first one.
Out of the 3 movies.
Definitely the first one.
All right.
It has the strongest story structure.
And it's also the only one I've seen.
Really? So am I the only one between the three of us that have actually seen all three movies?
I've seen
Yes.
Sponge Out of Water.
Sponge Out of Water did not interest me.
See what? Go ahead. Go ahead, Toaster. Go ahead.
I remember liking the comedy a lot in Sponge Out of Water, but I felt like the story was a little bit disjointed.
Yeah, that's the reason
I mean, you have
why.
yeah. I didn't. Okay, I'll be honest. I didn't like that they made them like the SpongeBob and the characters superheroes halfway through like the final bit of the movie. I feel like they were just trying to cash in on the success because I think at the time the second Avengers movie had came out.
Give me a minute.
Was
I'm
it the
gonna
first?
check. Keep talking.
Yeah, I think it was like the second one or the first one, but I just didn't like it that they made them superhero. And what bugged me the most was they made Sandy's superhero form like an actual live action squirrel. That
that's boring.
it does
Yeah.
not. What is it? What?
They rendered her in
It
like
did
this
not
realistic
fit
style.
well for that universe.
Age of Ultron
Yeah.
was the most recent Marvel MCU video movie to come out then.
All right, so I was right.
Yeah.
So I was right. Yeah. No, I didn't like the second one that much. I mean, granted, I did like it that SpongeBob and Plankton have to work together for this because
That was sweet.
I like it when the two actually have to work together. And the one other thing I liked about this movie was Antonio Banderas as Burger Beard the pirate. I'm an Antonio Banderas.
This is not because I don't like Antonio Banderas. I like the man. I think they really should not have had a real life person be the villain in the cartoon movie. 9 times out of 10, mixing cartoon and real life stuff really does not work. This is one of the few of the times it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I get you. It was still like I honestly, I think out of me, the movie that I like the most, it's honestly hard for me to choose between the first one and Sponge on the Run because I like Sponge on the Run because it focused on SpongeBob's relationship, not with just Gary, but with like the main characters, like how much SpongeBob's influenced their lives, and like if it wasn't for SpongeBob, they wouldn't be who they would be today without him. I feel like that movie was just like their love letter to Steven Helberg and everything that he created, because Helberg passed away shortly before the movie finished wrapped up production.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the movie because when Gary gets shell napped and taken to the lost city of Atlantic City, like the parody of Atlantic City, Patrick has his moments where he won't be such a complete dumbass. He'll actually pull through, and he pulled through for SpongeBob because SpongeBob was just worried about Gary. That's the other thing I like about the movie, because out of the relationships that SpongeBob has, no one is important to SpongeBob than Gary. And people can disagree with me on that. They can say that Gary's not that good of a character, but I like the little snail. He is one of my favorite characters. I didn't like, though, that they had used this movie to promote the upcoming... Oh, what?
I was gonna say, I think Gary is a lot smarter than he lets on.
Yeah. I will say this. I did not like that they were using this movie to promote the upcoming spin-off that was announced right after Steven passed away. I feel like that was just a dick move on Nickelodeon's part.
Indeed.
But other than that, it was a good movie. But do you guys remember that when the first SpongeBob movie came out, that was originally intended to be the series finale for the show?
I do know that.
Honestly, I'm glad they decided to continue the series. I really find it stupid to just go, oh, this movie that we just did, yeah, this is the series ending. Because like that was also supposed to be the plan for the Simpsons movie, and it's like, don't end it on a movie. Don't give us an actual ending. Don't just go, and then this movie ended the series. That just seems like just seems really lazy and a giant cop out to me.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about the Simpsons movie. Apparently, the movie was supposed to end the series, but according to Al Jean, Matt Groening, the Simpsons movie made more money than they were expecting.
Yeah.
And so I guess Fox has said, "Yeah, can you guys keep the series going?" And,
oh boy!
Al Jean had stated for one of the commentaries, because I have a bunch of the Simpsons. I have a bunch of the Simpsons seasons on DVD, and I think it's season 11 or 12. They were recording commentary while they were working on the Simpsons movie at the time, and Al Jean has said that if it's one thing he's learned about the show, they are never going to work on another movie while they're doing this show, because apparently things were just too crazy and hectic. You had people running back and forth between productions of both the show and the movie.
Yeah, that's straight on Fox.
Yeah, that's Fox. But no, I liked the first movie because it was like a buddy movie. You have SpongeBob and Patrick going out on this massive quest to save Mr. Krabs from getting terminated by King Neptune, which was voiced by the late Jeffrey Tambor, I think. Scarlett Johansson voiced Mindy. I remember that. And she said that it was just an honor to be part of this movie because she likes SpongeBob. Her kids like SpongeBob. So she wanted to do it for them. I really like it when they give the villain role to Plankton as well, because he can play that role incredibly well.
I will rule the world! Well, good luck with that.
Well, good luck with that.
It was Jeffrey Tambor who voiced Neptune in the movie, and he's still around.
I thought he passed away.
No, he's still alive. He's 78.
I'm thinking Rip Torn. My bad. I was thinking Rip Torn. Honestly, that's my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't hear much from him, so I assumed he was dead, but no. Okay, all right. Thank you for correcting me, Yuyu.
Yeah.
I will say I do like the third one because Matt Berry, who you don't know, for those who don't know, he's from What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series. I cannot remember the name of the character he plays off the top of my head, but he's also Prince Mortimer from Disenchantment, the series that Matt Groening created. He plays King Neptune for that movie, and in the second SpongeBob movie, he was Bubbles the dolphin. I can't believe that they actually got him back for that.
The random ass dolphin who does a rap number at the end.
Yeah.
Never understood that.
Speaking of,
I remember watching the movie in the theater and not understanding it at all.
Speaking of the rap battle,
did they accidentally get some pages of the animated Titanic movie script in there?
Speaking of the rap battle at the end of the second movie, apparently that was written by the guys behind Epic Rap Battles of History.
I remember that.
Yeah. My friend told me about that, but I don't know if that's 100% true or not. So I'm just kind of looking that up as we speak, and yeah, it's true. Yeah. Okay. Favorite character from SpongeBob that you like?
Aside from SpongeBob himself.
Can't think of anyone?
I remember I liked Sandy a lot as a kid.
Gary.
She made...
Thank you, Yuyu. Gary can be smart when he wants to be. like Toaster said.
Gary is also what introduced me to the Man from Peru poem. But there once was a man from Peru who dreamed he was eating his shoe. He woke with a fright in the middle of the night to find that his dream had come true.
My friend DJ, like 50 cal, he made this suggestion for like a death battle, and I'm like, I would actually love to see that, and that's Mr. Krabs versus Scrooge McDuck.
That would be great.
Think about it. They're both money pinchers. Because, like, Krabs is like Krabs. I've
seen him bathe in money before.
Mr. Krabs, I think he's my favorite character aside from Patrick and Gary. Because I've told you this, I've talked about this before, but one of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob involved Mr. Krabs trying to turn over a new leaf after he died, and he was brought back, and of course, Mr. Krabs, he can't do this, so he goes back to his penny pinching ways. So Flying Dutchman comes to take Mr. Krabs away, and SpongeBob defends Mr. Krabs by saying, "You're like, I bet you, like, Mr. Krabs wouldn't trade my soul for all the loose change in your pocket."
Actually, it's SpongeBob defends Mr. Eugene by saying that he's kinder, generous, not cheap. Dutchman replies with, "He'd bet your soul for all the money in my pocket. I bet my soul
62
he wouldn't."
cents.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like, how much you got, Mr. Krabs? So, Mr. Krabs, no, Mr. Krabs. I can't believe I'm saying this, but how could you do that to SpongeBob? You're right. You think I could have got more?
He stood up for you when no one would. You should be ashamed of
You're
yourself.
Right. Yes, you're
Mr.
right.
Krabs is a really interesting character.
Because he bounces between good and evil sometimes.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons he's so interesting. He's either a good guy or a bad guy, depending on, I guess, what he wants money for. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the episode where Mr. Krabs discovers that Gary can actually attract money.
Poor guy.
So he's using Gary, and then meanwhile he tasked SpongeBob with these impossible tasks, which he does. He manages to do them, which is just even more funny. But then it turns out at the end of the episode, the reason why Gary was attracting money was because SpongeBob's mermaid man magnet was stuck under his shell. And then, Mr. Krabs got the biggest FU at the end of the episode because every bit of money that he collected through that entire episode, that paid his hospital bill.
Oh. Steals all that money and he can't even do anything with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder, why does he want the money in the first place?
He's a crab. Crabs collect things.
I didn't know that. I really like when there's a show when the characters are animals. I really like it when there's a justified reason for them being animals. Like, you know how SpongeBob's a sponge, and so they get a lot of mileage out of him, like, soaking things up.
Mm-hmm.
Which, now that I think about it,
Go ahead.
I guess that kind of works for the rest of the characters too. Like, Patrick is a starfish. They don't move much, so they're very, like, slow-witted, I guess. They went with him, and
yeah,
Squidward
he's kind of lazy.
Squidward is a cephalopod, and they're, like, the smartest of invertebrates. And so he's just, like, he thinks he's superior to everyone. Sandy is a squirrel. She's, like, smarter than all of them, because, I don't know, mammals outrank sea folk or something.
This is funny because before me and my friends saw the second SpongeBob movie, me and my friend Megan had to introduce DJ to SpongeBob because he had never seen an episode in his life. So we showed him that episode that we had talked about before with Mr. Krabs turning over a new leaf. And we also showed him the first episode that Plankton appeared in. And I can't remember what other episode we showed him, but he's sitting there watching these episodes, and then he's like, "This is the most stupidest thing I've ever seen, and why is it such a success?" Because the comedy. It's the slapstick comedy, I think.
The characters.
And then he won't admit this to like everyone else, but yeah, but he won't admit this to anyone else, but he told me personally that his favorite character is Mr. Krabs. Because he's attracted to money. So that's what do you guys think of Squidward's love-hate, I guess you'd say, relationship with SpongeBob?
Personally, I think that Squidward does care for SpongeBob on some deep subconscious level. He just doesn't like to be interrupted, which I guess is what SpongeBob does to him a lot. That whole thing of when you're a kid you relate to SpongeBob, when you're an adult you relate to Squidward.
Yeah.
I feel like that applies to me a lot as an adult. You watch SpongeBob as a kid and you think, oh, Squidward's such a stick in the mud, but you watch as an adult and you realize just how much life shits on him and you just feel really sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys continue talking. I'm trying to find a post that I had made because this just made me laugh. When I read it, so I just gotta figure it out. So just give me a minute here to find this post here. What is it? Okay, I'll ask you guys this. What do you think of Squilliam?
He's a douche.
Yes, William sucks.
You know what it is with Squilliam? You know how Squidward thinks he's superior to everyone, and oftentimes his torture is the funniest when he's basically doing it to himself. Imagine if the douchiest side of Squidward was actually successful. That is pretty much what Squilliam is.
Yeah.
They haven't done much with Squilliam lately.
Yeah, Squilliam, I will say, was voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah.
A great voice actor.
Oh, he's an amazing voice actor. Where is that post of mine? All right, give me over here. Can't find that post. Oh, wait, I can't find that post. If I can find it, if I can find it for next week, I will let you guys know. Because it's a funny little thing. Okay, let's talk about the games.
We weren't going to go over favorite episode, or are we saving that for last?
Oh yeah, we'll go. Yeah, we could save that for last if you guys want.
All right.
Favorite game.
Battle for Bikini Bottom, because it's also the only good one.
I haven't really played any SpongeBob console games outside of Battle for Bikini Bottom, which I still need to finish.
Oh, it's such a good game, and I was really quite happy with the fact that they actually released it for they made a rehydrated edition, I guess you could say, of the movie.
Even though it was supposed to have stuff that was cut, and they didn't even put that in because they wanted to have it out for the movie. Activision, you really should not legally be allowed to control certain things anymore.
Well, I think they wanted to actually include the robot Squidward as like an actual boss in the game, but Activision's like, yeah, we don't want that, so like included like as like a new kind of like feature, I guess.
In the fucking in the frickin' horde mode.
Mm-hmm.
They added because
Yeah.
everything needs a horde mode.
For a second there, I thought you said horde mode.
Nope. Horde mode. Yeah, I for the life of me can't find my post, so if I can find it for like for next week. Here we go. I found it. Oy. So like this is taken from the third SpongeBob movie. Do you mind if I say this quickly before we continue talking about the games? This is like SpongeBob. Look, looks don't matter. We don't care about little imperfections or even big ones. Just look at Squidward. What's that supposed to mean? It's one of my favorite moments.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's just one of the wild moments, and just Squidward's reaction to that is just hilarious.
It is.
But I have to agree. I did like Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I cannot wait for the Cosmic Shake to come out. That game looks amazing. It looks like a great follow-up to Battle for Bikini Bottoms.
It does.
I am not willing to pay the price that they're asking for like the special collector's edition. And the stuff that you get with that, like I do want that statue of SpongeBob and his outfit from the Sweet Victory segment from that episode Band Geeks, but I am not willing to pay the price for that because you also get placemats in that, and the placemats really don't interest me.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
The special editions don't really work. Don't really give off that good of stuff. And they're way overpriced.
Yeah. Exactly. My friend was telling me that they had got the collector's edition of God of War Ragnarok, and they had to pay an arm and leg for it apparently. So that was like a lot, but then again, the person is a huge fan of God of War, so yeah, I'm not gonna judge. Okay, let's talk about favorite episodes and winding this down. Toaster, since you're our guest, let's start with you.
Favorite episode, I'm gonna say Graveyard Shift is one of my favorites. You know, the one where
the hash
working the night shift. My boss and I reference that episode all the time when I'm working the night shift there. Taking out the trash. Oh, really? Taking out the trash at night. My boss and I, we quote SpongeBob all the time. She's so sweet.
Oh. I burned my hand. At
night.
Night.
And it also has that really funny ending with Nosferatu.
Yeah, wait. Who's turning off the lights? Nosferatu.
Which, I finally get that joke. It took me, like, years to understand what the joke was there, other than just a random movie reference.
Mm-hmm.
But now I get it. The whole point is that they're, like, scared of this guy, this, like, supposed murderer ghost thing, fry cook, that doesn't even exist, but then an actual, like, vampire shows up and they're just unfazed by it.
Yeah, Nosferatu. I think my favorite segment from that, like that moment from that episode, is when Squidward's going over like the story that he told, and he's like, the walls will ooze with green slime.
Green slime.
Wait,
they always do that.
And it's like we've never actually seen all of the walls ooze green slime in any other moment.
Well, because we've never seen it at night before.
Yeah,
how do we know they don't always do that at night? At night.
True.
I'm really getting into the spirit.
God damn it, Toaster. Yeah. You. How about
Sorry.
you? Favorite SpongeBob episode?
That one I need to think of. But honestly, I can also go with one of my least favorite episodes. The one
Oh, go ahead.
where Mrs. Puff takes the class on a trip to the boating museum. The one where he legit gets his fucking license, but because of Steve Hildenberg's stupid rule of SpongeBob must never get his license, they had to take it away. Frankly, that's when Mrs. Puff started becoming a bad character in my eyes. There are 9 times out of 10, if I see it's a boating school episode, and it's a newer one, I'm basically changing the channel. It's like, nope, I'm bored of Mrs. Puff. Just get rid of. Just stop this stupid rule. Either let SpongeBob have his license and just be done with that fucking shit, or just stop with Mrs. Puff episodes.
Yeah, I remember there was this one Mrs. Puff like boating school episode that legit ticked me off, like especially for the time. Or like she decided to take SpongeBob driving on the road, and he's like saying his mantra, "Focus on the road. There's nothing but the road," and like has a pretty nice moment. But then at the very end, they have to like take the license away, even though he totally deserved it. And like just the reason why this ticked me off so much, especially at the time, was because that was right around the time I had gotten my learner's permit and I had started practicing driving with my dad. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like early Mrs. Puff is fine. She's hit and missy at most. And basically, she's straight a bad character after that episode. Like, I don't respect her anymore. All she's there is just basically a bitch who does not like SpongeBob, who's trying his best. And it's like, that's not fun writing. You already have Squidward when it comes to basically an asshole for SpongeBob. We don't need Mrs.
Plankton.
Puff. Plankton is more Mr. Krabs. While he is antagonistic to SpongeBob, he's not. He's more antagonistic to Mr. Krabs than SpongeBob. But Mrs. Puff is just a straight bitch.
Wasn't there an episode where she tried to straight up kill SpongeBob?
I don't think so.
She like wanted to put him in a demolition derby or something.
Right? Yeah, I remember that one. I need to check that one because I think there was another reason.
They like she got injured and she was never able to puff again, but she just goes completely psychotic. She's like, I want to get rid of SpongeBob forever. But like you can't root for SpongeBob either since he like ended up crippling her for life. And I'm like, who am I supposed to like here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's yeah.
It's like this is when we start doing basically. That's another bad episode. Which like they turn Mrs. Puff into a gigantic, and I'm sorry for using this word, cunt. They start turning her into one. I'm sorry for using that word, but let's be straight honest. She becomes one. Her flanderization, it turns Mrs. Puff into a giant cunt. Again,
I would have gone with sociopath, but that's a good word too.
I'm very sorry for using that word if anyone is offended. Very sorry. But that's my opinion on this. And yeah, if sociopath does work too, I probably should have used that one instead. But yeah, honestly, if I had to say a favorite episode, it's kind of a mixture of. It's kind of a tie between a few of them. It's the shoelace one because it's kind of funny that they have to do all those lace jokes.
Make a loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking cool.
Yeah, it turned. I find that funny because it turns out of everyone that he goes to, Gary's the one that actually helps SpongeBob tie his shoes. That is just funny.
Granted,
in my opinion.
no one else wears shoes.
True. But
So it's like,
you get what I mean. It's still funny.
No, I get
Sandy
that.
wears shoes.
Not,
she wasn't in the episode.
Not laced shoes.
Yeah, it's true. She wears boots.
Although I do think she probably would have known how to tie shoes, though. Considering the fact that we're talking about a squirrel who's made a rocket, a lot of
robot.
gadgets. Yeah, robots.
Yeah.
I like the episode where Mr. Krabs forces SpongeBob and Patrick to be wrestlers. That's how you do the unintentional let's put SpongeBob and Patrick into mortal harm for the selfishness of another in a good light. Because they do straight gaggy for that.
Yeah.
Especially considering Patrick wins by using his iron buns. Which literally just
stupid, but it works.
It works for SpongeBob. And it's a really good hindsight to the Demolition Derby episode where Mrs. Pop does it because she's a fucking sociopath.
Well, Mr. Krabs will do anything for money. He's like a freaking Ferengi.
He is. But Mr. Krabs, but they also like to have Mr. Krabs. They like to have fun with Mr. Krabs. They lose all the fun for Mrs. Puff. They just turn her psychotic, and they really need to just retire her character. Same for Pearl.
Yeah. I will say this. I like that, Mr. Krabs has like relationship with SpongeBob because he sees SpongeBob as, I guess you could say, like a son.
Yeah.
He takes SpongeBob under. Yeah, he takes SpongeBob under his wing, and he will exploit the sponge because SpongeBob's just extremely loyal to Mr. Krabs. That's what I love about Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob's relationship.
For the difference between when they have Mr. Krabs try to kill SpongeBob in it for money and Mrs. Pop trying to kill SpongeBob is for every moment they have Mr. Krabs an asshole to SpongeBob, they also have a sweet moment to counterbalance that. They don't do that with Mrs. Puff.
Yeah.
They don't do that with Mrs. Puff anymore.
It's a shame because it was shown in some episodes that she cares for him on some level.
Yeah.
Remember when he actually got his license because she just wanted him out of the class and she genuinely kind of feared for his safety once he got a boat?
If it was less his safety than her career because of the flash of him basically causing all this destruction and the newscaster going, it's all because of this negligent driving instructor. It's more her than him. The ending is really sweet. She actually does make up. It's I kind of feel you were ready. It's you can kind of tell she really does feel that.
Yeah.
When they can make Squidward sympathetic a lot of times more than Mrs. Puff, something's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like I said, they need to retire Mrs. Puff. Just they need to get rid of her. I don't think there's a single person that actually respects Mrs. Puff as a teacher in any case. I'm not saying replace her get a replacement, even though the episode she was replaced with was a really good episode. Just stop the boating school things. SpongeBob and Squidward are both within walking distance of the Krusty Krab.
Yeah.
They don't need to fucking drive.
I think Squidward has had a boat in at least one episode.
He at least
has a boat in one episode. Yeah, he has a boat in like I believe one episode, but then for the most part, you can see him with his bike. Apparently,
Yeah, like scooter
Yeah.
bikes, which also reminds you of the good driver bad driver thing, which basically was
yeah,
yeah, that one was not a pleasant episode because it's like Scooter has a bike. Don't do this.
As like recumbent bicycle.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
Oh no, that's fine.
I also kind of hate that episode because it like punishes Squidward for doing the right thing.
it's haha Scooter got hurt funny. Which sometimes that's funny,
Yeah.
sometimes it's not. Like if it's a scene like how Squidward falling off the cliff on his bike in jellyfishing, that's fine.
Mhm.
Because Squidward said something snarky, and that's karma. If it's something akin to, I'm trying to think of a time when Squidward was actually hurt for no reason.
There was that episode where he's in that cephalopod club and he's basically kicked out because SpongeBob and Patrick sneak in, even though he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, there are a lot of times when SpongeBob and Patrick call Squidward incident, and it's like there's no reason for that. It's like another episode I really did not like was the Tiki Vacation one that ends with basically SpongeBob and Patrick being hit by Scooter's boat because, oh gee, they did something nice and it got ruined because of some mistake. Scooter's gonna basically torture them. It's like, no, fuck you.
So that episode did have that nice song number at least, and at least SpongeBob and Patrick feel bad for what they did in that episode.
Yeah, it's like SpongeBob and Patrick actually do and like Squidward. They don't. When they interrupt on him, it's not because hey, let's ruin Squidward's day. It's like they want to actually do stuff with him, but it's like Squidward's too much of a jerk to do it.
It did.
What's that one episode where Patrick's like, "Is it time to ruin Squidward's day?"
That's a one-off joke. That's a one-off joke, and that always makes me laugh because it's just it's early on. It's early on that they do that.
It was pineapple, sweet pineapple, where SpongeBob's pineapple house is devoured by nematodes, and he notices like his house begins to shrink. So he calls Squidward, and he's like, "SpongeBob, is it early enough? Like, why do you have to ruin my day so early?" And then he hangs up. Oh, no, wait. SpongeBob's phone shrank because of the nematodes, and so then you can hear Patrick waking up and like, "What is it time to ruin Patrick?
Is it time to ruin Squid's day?" And he just falls off.
And he's wearing a tuxedo.
Then he runs out wearing a tuxedo. SpongeBob, don't start without me. It's like
okay. For me, like I love a majority of the Plankton and Mr. Krabs episodes because they always get the biggest laughs in my opinion. But
go ahead. I'll let you finish and
I'll
get my thought. No, finish your thought. Finish your thought.
I also like the episodes where it's just SpongeBob and Patrick just being dumbasses, just causing mischief.
90% of the episodes.
I think one of my favorite episodes is the Fry Cook Games.
That's a good.
Just because.
Probably my favorite Plankton and Krabs episode.
Yes, I love it because like it's like crabs, plankton, crabs,
plankton, crabs,
plankton, SpongeBob, and then like they run out like onto the stage together. Just like you have like them tap dancing that. Just at the end of the episode, at the end of the episode, like yellow.
I love mixing things up.
Yeah, at the end of the episode though, yellow, pink,
you know, these were what when I bought them.
I never thought you could manage to make a pee joke subtle, but here we are.
That's what Patrick says when they're walking away. These were white when I bought them.
It took me years to realize he peed his pants. I don't know how you make a pee joke subtle, but they did.
And they don't usually go for the lowbrow humor a lot of times.
They have like butt jokes.
They do, but it's like it's kind of very rarely.
Yeah. I think another favorite episode of mine that I love the most is Sailor Mouth. Like where
that one's
SpongeBob and like where SpongeBob and SpongeBob and Patrick discover that dirty word, and so they start to say it. Then Mr. Krabs punishes them, and then he tells them like he tells them like
the paint to the boys to give the Krusty Krab a new coat of paint. He trips and just gives off all of the curse words.
Reminds me
we're gonna tell your mom. We're gonna tell your mama. Not my mama. It will break her poor fragile little heart. Mama Krabs. Mama Krabs.
I don't know where she lives.
Fragile little heart.
I like to think that one time, Mr. Krabs, I like to think that Mr. Krabs brought her over to Krusty Krab and met SpongeBob, or he took them over one time. I mean, it's like I said, for every moment there's an asshole Mr. Krabs moment. There's this very sweet moment to counter it out.
Yeah. No, I like the end of that episode because, like, everyone's painting her house, and then she stubs on that rock, and then you think it's her swearing. Like,
no, it's Old Man Jenkins and it's jalopy.
Howdy, Mrs. K.
True story about the episode. It kind of reminds me of like when I turned 14 and I was like first starting to watch adult cartoons, and I also thought they would say like bad words like slut and like douchebag and that kind of thing, and I thought that because I was allowed to watch those types of shows now, I thought it also meant I was allowed to say those types of words, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful about how you use swears.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Toaster. Continue.
I was just gonna make a joke.
They
can't all be the voyage home.
I think another thing I like about the show, like the series, and that is
real quick, because I actually thought I read this, and I did. According to an interview, the cast members were actually given permission to swear when they were doing that episode. So I'm pretty sure. I do too.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, like they actually did swear, I think.
Yeah, I actually want to see that. That would be a really funny thing.
I think there's like an actual demo of like them actually swearing in the voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like 100% true. I gotta look into some details for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's like actual I think there's like an actually recording of it. I don't know 100% sure, but I will look into that.
Yeah.
But because that would be funny. That would be just extremely funny hearing SpongeBob swear. Like Tom Kenny and his SpongeBob voice swear.
Yeah.
Now I really want to know what all 13 bad words are. Like, I assume 7 of them are the 7 words you can't say on television.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. As I was
for a while,
say,
I assumed. Never mind.
Another thing I like about the series is there's those episodes where Karen tries to get Plankton to show that he cares about her.
I only remember just 2 of those. There's the one that was their anniversary, which she had the Krabby Patty formula. And there's also the one where he replaces her with the younger model.
Yeah, Karen point 2. But there's another episode where Karen actually kicks Plankton out of the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's that one. I gotta talk about the movie, like the first movie for a minute, because one of my favorite scenes in that movie involves Plankton when Karen suggests, "Why not use Plan Z?" And so he looks at the files, and then he finds Plan Z, and so he's looking at it. And then like the way he's holding it, it's like a porno magazine, like a pinup.
Well, I mean,
like,
that's the joke.
Yeah, that's the joke. I like that. It's like,
I mean, it's not.
I never realized that as a kid.
It's not. It's not like it's not the first time they did a secret porn joke in SpongeBob.
That's true.
There's
the
also
best
the
of
time.
those jokes are always the subtle ones.
Yeah. There's also the time SpongeBob was watching live action choral thingy dance. Gary, I was looking for the sports channel, Gary.
Yeah, there's the yeah. But no, I like that because like he's like, it's diabolical, it's evil, it's lemon
scented.
So apparently Plan Z smell like lemon. Who knew?
But it's because every villain is lemon.
I see what you did there. Very funny. Very funny. But before we wrap things up, I want to touch on the SpongeBob Broadway musical that came out. Like, I'm gonna say like it wrapped up production, but I freaking love this musical. Like, the best way to bring SpongeBob to the stage is through this. Like, it was just the humor was just like the show. It had like the quirks, it had like the references. There was like a lot of references throughout the show, and like they actually did have when they there's a scene where Plankton and Mr. Krabs were swearing. They did do the dolphin chirps.
The dolphin noise.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like you had like the cast, like the cast, like they're just looking back and forth at them, and they're just swearing at each other. It's the funniest thing.
I one thing I do want to mention. You would think that basically for a Broadway play version off movie, you would think it's characters dressed as characters. The actors are dressed as people. No, it's actual people.
Yeah.
Dressed up as the SpongeBob characters. Like this guy who plays Plankton has an eye patch.
Yeah, and he actually carries a Plankton plushie with him.
Yeah, it's like it's not people in costumes; it's actual people, which is actually a really neat idea that they did.
The costumes were like the outfits were like amazing for the characters, and like it's true to the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick's outfit was like my favorite one, aside from SpongeBob's outfit, because you have like him with the tie and that like.
Yeah.
Mr. Krabs' actor, he actually wore boxing gloves.
Yeah.
To kind of
looks like strong bad.
Yeah, and like I said, Plankton's actor had an eye patch. They didn't give him a fake mask to wear. They literally just went, just wear an eye patch.
Yeah. I think my favorite song from that entire musical is the song that SpongeBob sings, "Just a Simple Sponge." It's got a good beat because the premise for the musical is that Bikini Bomb's largest volcano is going to erupt and it's going to destroy the town. And so SpongeBob wants to kind of band everyone together to try and save their town, while Plankton, hatch another one of his plans. He's going to kind of gather everyone into a sub, and he's going to hypnotize them so everyone will love his chum. Mm-hmm. So SpongeBob decides to gather up the courage, like he wants to save his town because Bikini Bottom means something to him. So he gets Patrick and Sandy, but Patrick actually started a cult that worships him in the musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's SpongeBob and Sandy, like they're left, but then you find out that the thing that SpongeBob brings to the team is heart. He's the one that keeps the team going when they're down. And it's
Captain Planet,
funny,
but less stupid.
Sort of. And then it's actually funny because a couple of years ago, Nickelodeon actually did a broadcast of the musical for TV, and the actor that they had for Patchy, they replaced him with Tom Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually came on stage and he performed the Patchy song "Poor Pirates," and then at the end of the special, he kind of crashes the set, and he just looks. He's like, "I'm here," and then he starts to like dance with the rest of the cast. It was just funny seeing him. Yeah, it's funny, but I know a lot of people dislike SpongeBob nowadays because they find that the humor has gone down the tubes and that. But I still have a spot in my heart for this yellow sponge and his friends. I will still watch SpongeBob. I am happy that I have Paramount Plus because I have been watching the classic episodes. I am currently on episode 3 of season 2. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's a good show. And when the day comes when they actually decide to end SpongeBob, I just have to say thank you because the show, it's still going and it's still hilarious, in my opinion.
Did you
What about you guys?
Yeah. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it does end, there are some things that I kind of hope it has in it.
SpongeBob getting his license.
Yeah, I had a list.
Mr. Krabs and
Let me pull it. Oh, here it is. Okay, possible things I'd like to see in a SpongeBob finale. The actual reveal of the secret formula, not just a stupid teaser.
Yeah.
Krabs and Plankton rekindling their friendship.
Yeah.
Given. Squidward finally realizing that he does indeed care about SpongeBob.
I mean, there are times when he's realized it. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Alright. Yeah, but this would be him finally admitting that, he does care about SpongeBob on some level.
Yeah.
Patrick finally making something of himself. I don't know, maybe he decides to get a job, I don't know. Sandy finishing whatever research she's doing and having a tearful goodbye.
I don't think they would do that one. I don't think they would do that one.
Okay, that's, again, I feel like that's the hardest idea to pull off. SpongeBob getting his voting license, allowing Mrs. Puff to retire happy. It's kind of a given. At the very end, I can see everyone cheering. You could have some of the secondary characters in the crowd, like Larry the Lobster, Flying Dutchman, Squilliam. They'd all be cheering SpongeBob on as he drives up to the Krusty Krab in his own boat after getting his license. He'd step out of the vehicle in a dramatic fashion as he says, "I'm ready," and enters the restaurant. And then we'd freeze frame and Ocean Man would start playing, and it would just be really emotional. I don't know if it would be Toy Story 3 levels of satisfying. Maybe at least Star Trek 6 levels of satisfying. You know, that sense of thanks guys, thanks for everything.
Yeah.
No, that's actually a nice thing, and it would be cool if they actually did play Ocean, a reference to the first SpongeBob movie. Let's be honest, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah. He'd finally take over the Krusty Krab. I don't know. Presumably, Mr. Krabs retires because he's hangs out with Plankton or whatever.
Pearl is just gone from the equation because no one cares about Pearl.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she goes off to college or something. I think she'd be in the crowd with all the secondaries.
Sorry, go ahead. Let's be honest. Do you think Mr. Krabs would actually pay to send Pearl off to college on his own? Let's be real. It's Mr. Krabs we're talking about. Pearl would actually probably have to get a job herself.
Which she wouldn't do.
Yeah.
The one person who's lazier than Squidward is Pearl.
Pearl's another character who's kind of inconsistent. But sometimes she really likes SpongeBob, and other times she doesn't want to be around him. And that always kind of bothers me.
That's the price of writing a teenage character. When you can write them, you can bounce them up and down. And when they're down, they're straight hateable. They're boring. And that's the issue with Pearl. she is not a good written teenager.
That's true.
Definitely.
I'm gonna be honest. I agree. Honestly, I agree. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick or nothing, but yeah, I agree. I
But
don't like
Daniel-
Pearl that much.
Yeah. It's like she's not
Yeah.
like the episode where she takes over the Krusty Krab, that's fine. That's a fine episode. I can't imagine any other time where she was actually written well. You know?
That's true.
The prom episode's okay.
The prom episode's all right, but it's like then you're also dealing with basically writing a teenager, which, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when you were saying a majority of the Plankton Crabs versus Plankton episodes, I would have basically straight up interrupted you and called you an idiot if you said one of your favorite Plankton versus Crabs episodes was Plankton v Crabs. That is not a good episode.
Oh, I did not. Honestly, I was gonna like, if you had asked me that, I would have said no. If that's not my favorite episode, I don't like that episode. I think it was
one where Plankton takes Crabs to court.
Yeah, because of some stupid random random people basically commenting on, oh gee, I would have sued Mr. Krabs. It's like, ugh. That's like getting outside interference in the Plankton versus Krabs thing is kind of really dull. The only time it was funny was when Plankton got his relatives to join in on this. That
was a funny episode.
It was.
Okay. Speaking of that, there is an episode that they recently did, and this ties into the Camp Coral spinoff, where they actually brought two of the Camp Coral characters into the actual SpongeBob show. Hang on, I gotta look this up here, so just give me a minute here. While I'm doing that, what are you guys' thoughts on the spinoffs? Actually, we forgot to talk about that.
I honestly do not care for them.
I think I saw the first episode of Camp Coral and it didn't really do anything for me. Patrick Starr's show, based on what I've seen, I just straight up don't like because I'm not a big fan of that whole LOL random humor thing, and that's like, I mean, I feel like it can work, but when that's all you've got is just throwing random stuff on the screen and assuming you're gonna laugh at it, it doesn't make me laugh.
Yeah. I will state I do like the reasoning why they have Sandy in Camp Coral, because her older self told her younger self to do it. That I will admit, I was annoyed at seeing Sandy in the promos for Camp Coral, but seeing as how they actually 4D chest a reason to actually do that, I'm accepting of it because it's an actual funny reason and one I actually can see Sandy doing.
I feel like they've kind of played up like Sandy's scientist angle more and more over the years. Like, it was definitely present in the earlier seasons, but I feel like they've kind of overused it.
I don't mind them overusing it because they overuse it for Plankton.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like they honestly need to do a good scientist character.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, there was an episode. Okay, what is it? I lost it here. Season 13. Something Narwhal this way comes, where Narlene and her brother Nobby, who are originated from Camp Coral, they appeared on the actual SpongeBob show, and Plankton's cousins got involved with the plot because there's something that happens, and so apparently Plankton's family has been feuding with this other family of narwhals. So the families, like the Plankton family, actually came back for this episode, which was just hilarious.
Narwhals eat plankton? Like, I know some types of whales do eat plankton.
Yeah, no, that's legit. But honestly, seeing that episode, that was funny in my opinion. It got a lot of laughs from me. And then I guess they're gonna continue to have Narlene and Nobby as part of the actual cast now for certain episodes, from what I heard.
That's not bad.
So like, yeah, so like they're not
It's
gonna
a
appear all
little
the
bit
time.
late in the game to add new
good.
characters.
It is.
Like,
Yeah.
I know they brought Bubble Bass back.
I will admit, I am glad that they're not bringing in Patrick's show characters.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna pretend that's non-canon.
Yeah, it's like I'm fine with Camp
Oh,
Coral because that's
not...
more of a childhood thing.
Yeah,
Patrick's show really should not have been a thing. I think they were trying to cash in on the old Planet Sheen show for that, which I will admit I like Planet Sheen. Planet Sheen was not as bad as everyone says it is. Because there are some funny stuff in Planet Sheen.
I feel like Planet Sheen didn't need to be about Sheen, though. I feel like they could have just made an original show and left Jimmy Neutron out entirely.
Yeah, but big time. But I don't mind the fact that they still did it, because Sheen bounces off the characters really well. Like, he bounces off Dorcas completely well.
Yeah.
Dorcas is another one of those characters that you're supposed to hate, but I kind of felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. I think the thing I like about Planet Sheen is, like, from the first episode, like, do not touch Sheen. J-Ed. J-Ed? Who's J-Ed? Hey, Jimmy Neutron! Someone was trying to steal your rocket ship!
Crying out loud. Double dumbass on you, Sheen.
Yeah. I mean, we might have to do an episode on Nicktoons at some point, because we have a love for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely have to ask my girlfriend, Nikki, if she wants to come on to talk about Danny Phantom, because you guys know she loves that show.
Oh my gosh. Nikki is great.
Yeah. Alright, but no, anything else before we wrap things up?
I'm gonna check real quick for some news.
Yeah, I don't think there's any news.
I can't think of anything else I want to say. It's been great, you guys.
Yeah, I know. We always have, like, I always enjoy it when you come on, Toaster.
Aww.
And it's funny because you're part of the server now, and so before that, Yuyu actually beat me to hosting the episode, not last week but the week before, just as I'm getting ready to post it. And I think it was like the one episode where we put you as and we talked to a toaster again. So you're legitimately a toaster for this.
I'm just like,
I need to draw some icons for you guys.
I mean, hell, when we upload this one, if D-Pad posts this before I do, I'm basically deleting his and typing it out.
You're talking to a toaster?
Fine,
yes,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to literally say, we talk SpongeBob with the toaster.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
I'm still, even if you put that in there, I'm still deleting and putting it myself because it's my idea.
I just love the fact that you guys call me Robot Toaster.
I mean, you accept it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And if you ever do get annoyed with it, tell us.
I love it.
Stop.
Dude.
Yeah, here we go. This is the one from where was it? Last. Yeah. Sorry about the lateness. Episode 15 of the Yin Yang podcast is up. We talk about Halloween. The channel, myself, D-Pad, and Edgy the Hedgie are starting. Midnight Suns, and celebrate a birthday with the toaster again. That was a good episode. That was.
Well, I've been enjoying being on your show.
That's it. We're glad you enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that being said, this has been another episode of the Yin and Yang podcast. As always, be sure to catch YuyuKirby over on Twitch. The link for his Twitch will be in the description below. Join our Discord. I'm D-Pad. That was YuyuKirby and Robot Toaster. Until next time, later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.